How do you increase your level of confidence in everything you do? Well, we're going to answer that question and tons more all on today's show. Your mind is a beautiful thing, but if left unattended, it can get ugly real quick. If you're not constantly curating the content your mind consumes on a daily basis, then your surroundings will dictate your daily thoughts, habits, behaviors, and actions. This show has only one goal: to leave your mind more beautiful than it was when you arrived. Welcome to the Beautiful Mind Show. Welcome to the Beautiful Mind Show. My name is Jason Everett. Super excited to be talking to my guest today. And with me as a co-host today, I've actually got Amy Roslin with me from the High Performance Salon Academy. What's up, Amy? Good to have you on as well, too. Good to see you looking like rock star status today. Let's be honest.
Thank you.
Yeah, super glad to have you on. Hopefully you and I can do a great job of connecting with our guest today and really kind of unpacking this idea around confidence, because this guy, not only super confident, but has worked with people on creating confidence on camera. He's been on television. Like, I think the other day I was randomly, flipping through the channels and I saw him show up on a TV commercial. He's from Hollywood, been there for years and years. Is multi-generational film and television. So good to have him on. Please welcome to the show. And if you could give him a big welcome in the chat, Mr. James Cooper. What's up, James? Good to have you, man.
What is up? How are you? Good to see you today. I gotta bump it up to 11 when I come on your show.
That's the only way
this one
it
goes to 11.
Yeah, crank it up. So, dude, clearly, I'm just really excited to have you on. We had you on our other podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I got to get James back on. I want to talk about this because this entire idea of the show today was around confronting confidence. And I know, because I've been on camera and doing things for a long time. And some people are like, Jason, how do you do it? Because every time somebody puts a camera on me, I freeze up, I freak out. And I really think that putting yourself on stage or on camera is one of the, that's the fastest personal development breakthrough technique that I know on planet Earth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. It is. I mean, it's the spotlight effect, right? What do people do when they get the spotlight on them? Some people just like deer in headlights freeze, and some people are like, I'm ready to go. So yeah, it is. I love the topic. I love the idea of confronting your confidence, because there are times we're all going to be there. When for some people it's related to the camera. So other people it's in business in different situations. Right. And where do we go to find that confidence? So I'd love to talk about this today. It's awesome.
Yeah. And by the way, Amy, for you, how has your confidence been affected by being on camera before?
Oh yeah. So it's funny we're having this conversation, because I just said some people do really great in front of crowds and cameras and things like that. And then some people are better in just smaller circles, right? And I think sometimes you get in your own head when you've got to be in front of big crowds or camera, things like that. And you kind of have a little bit of a battle, or at least for me, sometimes before I get in front of the camera, I have a little bit of a mental battle going on. So I've gotten more comfortable over time, but definitely has been a struggle up until this point.
Yeah, completely. Right. And I think one of the things that can happen over and over and over again with that is if you can't find a way to be comfortable and to get more confident on camera, it'll slow you down and it'll stop you from, making progress, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a leader of a team, because I think that confidence, and not only the confidence in being able to be on camera, but also to be able to tell stories and talk about your story. Because James, I think that's one of the other things you're really good at, is helping people tell their own unique story. And if they clam up and they can't even have a conversation like they would in a normal situation, then that's going to be a problem too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that we all, well, first of all, everything I talk about is based in story, right? Your story is like your fingerprint. Nobody else has it. But it's more than just knowing what your story is. It's being able to authentically tell it to an audience. I always think of the audience of one, even though this might be broadcast to thousands of people or hundreds of people might be watching you live, or there might be one person there. It doesn't matter. You're always speaking to one person. And I think that's the difference between talking to the camera versus being on stage and seeing tons of faces out in the audience. It's awkward to talk to a piece of glass, and it's not going to be natural for everybody, especially when they first get started. But the more that you can personalize the camera, the more that you can focus on one person that you're talking to, whether that's somebody that you know, that's somebody that you care about, or whether it's a client that you can put their face in your mind's eye that's on the other side of that lens. I think that, last year in 2020, we all became used to Zoom calls. We all became to, speaking virtually. And so, a lot of us have had that experience of having to communicate via a lens, whether that was in your laptop or whether you're speaking on a webcam.
Yeah, completely. And it became less weird, right? It became less weird. Like, Amy, how many Zoom calls have you done in the last year?
Oh, who knows? I lost count of that a long time ago. But
I think we should start tracking Zoom like air miles. You know what I'm saying? I'm a million hour club. You know what I mean? Say it again, Amy.
Get some points for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely is. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And, I like what you just said about speaking to that one person, because that just brings a calm to it for sure.
Yeah, and I think, I was mentioning this right before we started the show. Is like, my son this morning, who I've had my son on camera since the very earliest stages. We shoot videos just like you and your boys. I've been shooting videos with my boys since they were really young, so they're very used to it. But this morning, my son was wearing this amazing parrot costume. I'll have to show you guys a picture because it's insane. But anyway, he was wearing this parrot costume, going to school for this play, and I was like, buddy, I want to shoot a quick video. Would that be okay? And he's like, for what, Dad? And I'm like, so I can post it on social media. And he goes, but who's gonna see it? Right. And I was like, some friends of mine. He's like, and then he goes, which friends, Dad? And like, he was getting real specific. He's like, which friends are going to see this, Dad?
His rep's on the line.
Yeah. He was like, how much are you paying me for this appearance today? Right. He wanted his cut, which he gets paid for social. So don't think I just, put my child up there. But anyway, he gets paid for social. And, but it was just a reminder that like, we all kind of have that moment, right? Like we all go like, who's going to see this? Like, who's going to watch this? And why do you think that is, James? We kind of get like hypercritical on ourselves. We start examining it. Like when we tell our story or get seen on camera, what is it about that confronts us so heavy?
I think part of it is control for some people. They want their story to be told or seen the way they want it to be seen.
Right.
If you don't tell your story, but the truth is that if you don't tell your story, if you're in business, if you don't, as far as marketing and branding, if you don't tell your story, somebody else is going to tell your story. Do you want other people to be telling your story?
By the way, quick refresh. I just want to show you guys. This is my son in his parrot costume this morning. I just thought this would be its own solid. I mean, he's masked up because he's got to be in school, but like, I just thought this was like too much entertainment value to not be seen today. But yeah, dude, I mean, to your point, it is a control. I think that's a big thing. How about for you, Amy? What do you feel like comes up for you as you look at that?
As telling your story, I think
telling your story or confronting yourself on camera, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think just learning to get comfortable with it too. But the more and more you do it, it's just you can be more authentic and be yourself and really tell that story. And to your point, if you don't tell it, somebody else will. So you might as well get your story out there and say it how you want it to be delivered and how you want people to receive it. So
yeah. Super good. And James, I know you do a ton on storytelling. Do you have some hot tips for us on how to tell your story better or how to be more authentic in your ability to tell your story?
Yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of the biggest questions I get is like, well, what do I say? That's usually what I get a lot. It's like when it comes to my story, like, what do I do with my hands? What do I? Yeah. What part of my story do I share? And I think that they put so much pressure on trying to find the story. What is the story that's going to encompass my life? The truth is, we have lots of stories in our lives. We have lots of moments. We have what I call markers, which are like moments in our history that have shaped us and have made us who we are. So I look at when I was a life coach with the Tony Robbins organization. Tony Robbins, speaker, he does this live event called Date with Destiny, which is like this big 6-day event. And I remember on the form, there's a questionnaire that gets sent to all the participants. And one of the questions is, write down the 4 most significantly emotional events of your life.
Yeah, huge question.
And from that question, there's a lot of information of who a person is, because they're choosing the moments of their lives that have meant the most to them, that have shaped them. And when I interview people and when I film people in their story, I ask similar questions. It's like, what are some of the most significant moments that made you who you are today? And they'll think it's a deep question, and they'll think about, those shaping moments. We can all think of those things.
Yeah.
And so don't put so much pressure on trying to think of the story, like it was a blockbuster movie. Just tell stories. And you do that with friends, but we forget how to act normal when we try to put this into a filming or a going live context.
What are you talking about, Mr. James? I am fully functional and normal on camera every day, sir. True.
Yeah, it is.
That's me normally. So thanks for making me more.
But I also think there's an element of getting into the story, because when there's this infectious energy of like, when you're having fun telling a story, we're having fun listening to it.
Yeah.
And so
you invite
stepping
people into your world, right?
Totally. It's like telling it for the first time. It's like if something just happened to you, and like you want to tell somebody about it. You call your friend, you text them. I got to tell you something you're never going to believe what just happened to me. And they're like, what? And they get on the edge of their seat too. So I think there's this infectious energy of telling a story as if it was the first time. And when you do that, the audience appreciates it more.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big part of it.
So I want to tie it back to this, like confronting and kind of increasing in confidence. So how do you tell a story? Because like I'm just gonna sell myself out here. So like my sister Caitlin, she works for me, and she's worked for me for 7 years, and we kind of have a running joke. She's like, yeah, I heard all those stories. Like because she's the one, she's heard every story. Every time we get a new employee, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, they haven't heard this story. I could tell them this story, and they're like, yeah. But Caitlin's like, yeah, I've heard the story 1,000 times. I'm gonna walk out of the room now because I'm over it. What is it about that newness of telling story, or like how do you? And by the way, if you guys have questions about storytelling, feel free to type that in the chat, because I think we're increasing your confidence and getting these stories out. Please ask, because I know James will answer your questions if you're on with us live. But what is it about telling a story to somebody new? How do you still continue to carry that confidence, either telling to somebody new, like that's one way to do it. What would be some other pieces in your mind on the confidence part?
Yeah. I think that a lot of confidence, I focus on the physical. There's a lot that's going on with your physical body that is either giving you more confidence or taking confidence away. And so,
more about that.
I want to go back to the most basic things. Breathe. You gotta breathe.
Start at once.
Seriously. I mean, just in the most basic sense, you got to breathe. Most people, when they're lacking confidence, they're breathing shallow, they're tight. There's all this energy. And so, I mean, even just jumping up and down, or like shaking out their hands and taking deep breaths. I mean, before you go on stage, everyone's got their own routine. But before I go on stage, if I have any extra energy, I shake out that energy. I just do some deep breaths. Same thing when I go live. I don't just turn around and go live. I'm getting ready to go out on stage. And so there's that physical element.
Boosting your energy.
Say it again, Amy.
Boosting your energy, getting that energy up, you can release that nervousness in other directions. I think is super powerful and helpful to really just like get rid of the nervousness and be more confident when you're talking and you're delivering your story.
Totally. James, I got a couple more questions for you, but I need to take a quick break because I want to make sure people understand. If you guys want more help in lots of areas of your life, including confidence, this quick commercial is going to help you with that. We'll be right back in about 45 seconds. This is Rock and Roll. Would you like to have an even more beautiful mind? Well, we'd like you to have one, and we actually created a 7-day Beautiful Minds Challenge, which is a little bit of a choose your own adventure challenge for just 7 days. And I really think you can do anything for 7 days. It's definitely not easy, but it will be simple for you to get access to it. All you have to do is comment anywhere on this video or send me a message on social media that says 7 day, and I'll send you immediate access to not only our Beautiful Minds Facebook group, but also our Beautiful Minds Challenge, where you can go through 3 different areas: your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health, and get challenges in each of those areas that'll help you get a handle on each of those areas inside your life to give you more control over what you want to do every single day. So do me a favor, comment 7 day or send me a message on any social media, and I'll make sure I give you access to our exclusive community group as well as access to the challenge. Thanks so much, and now back to the show. Welcome back to the show. We're chatting with Amy Roslin all the way from St. Louis, and also James Cooper from Hollywood. What up, dude? Glad to have you on. We're chatting. Do you not normally get the Hollywood?
I have heard it.
Okay. Yeah, that's not the first. That's the 15th time today, Jason. Thanks for being such a... Anyway, we're chatting about confidence, mainly in camera settings, in life, whether you're on stage, doing things, and how much confronting yourself you have to do in order to put yourself on camera. And this last year, Amy, you brought up a great point we were talking about, or, James, you're talking about, Amy, you're talking about, is like this last year, everybody had to become like basically mini TV celebrities, right? Everybody's like I had a buddy of mine who does like morning news. His name's Ty Steele. Of course, that's a TV star name, isn't it? Ty Steele. I love it. Tyler Steele. Come on, man. Anyway, he's on morning show here in town. And he's like, everybody had to like figure out their own home studio lighting setup and their camera gear and all that. And then, but nobody's really talking about like, what is confidence on camera and what do you do? And James, you were just talking about how to make it physical. And then Ron made a comment in here on experiences. There's bad experiences, there's experience to enjoy. And then he also said, you also have to laugh at yourself. Let's talk about that, about laughing at yourself for a second. Cause that's clutch, I think.
It is. Don't take things so seriously. It's like, I think people put so much pressure when they go live or when they make a video that like has to be perfect. Human beings are not perfect. Human beings are flawed. I think the more people don't follow you and like you because you're perfect, they like you because you're real and relatable.
Truth.
I think you gotta do that.
Yeah, you got to laugh. And I think, I think the thing that always blows me away is like when people love mistakes more than they love the successes. Like I had somebody on the show a couple weeks ago, and we had total tech cluster F before we started the show. And he just was laughing. And I was like, and he goes, Jason, I love seeing the behind the scenes to know that even you struggle with tech because it always looks so good. And I'm like, whatever, man. Like we're always like, we broke the show this morning before we turned it on, like this stuff breaks all the time. And I think what happens is people feel like it's like that when you're on camera, when you're on stage, it's part of your permanent record. Right. It's part of your permanent record that like something bad is going to be seen and then amplified 100 times over. It's like, it's like that bad dream everybody has that like they're worried about going to school in their underwear, and be seen the wrong way. I think that's it. We're worried that somehow we're going to be like wearing our underwear and that everybody's going to see us in this embarrassing moment. Any advice for getting over those embarrassing things or like being okay making mistakes, James?
Yeah, I think again, it's focusing so much on yourself, which we all have our own levels of ego that we deal with. People, I mean, it's to be honest, people are not going to be talking about you after
nobody gives a crap.
They don't. So I think just a little bit of get over yourself. It's not a big deal. The other thing is that when you can, like Ron was saying, laugh at yourself, we get tongue tied. We have, mouth things that happen. I think the more that you can roll through them, the more you can laugh at them, or the more you can just like keep going, the easier it is, because it's just normal. It's human. And people do love, when things happen, because they become, oh my God, this is a real person. It's not just like a facade of a person. It's a real person. And we love that. How much do we love blooper reels in movies? I was watching the Avengers blooper reel the other day. It was freaking hilarious because it's like this all serious superhero movie. And then when you show the blooper reels, it was just hilarious.
Right. You're like, by the power of Odin. And you're like, well, I'm so glad that those people screw up too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think one of the tips. It is. But I think one thing that really makes it easy for me to be able to go live or make a video and really not care about me is I just always put my focus on them. I'm always putting my focus on my audience. Like, what is it that I'm here to say? How is it I'm here to help? What is the message that I really want to get across? And as long as you're focusing out, not in, it's like, oh, how does my hair look? Or how do I sound? Or all this stuff. That's all focusing on you. It's taking away from giving to your audience.
Yeah.
Really good point.
Yeah, I think it's like, Blair Singer, one of my mentors, has always said, if you get in your head, you're dead. And it again, in your head is you're focused on yourself. Like, does my hair look okay? And like, this is how you know if people are in their own head. When they're looking on camera, they're like, right? Women, you women. I'm blaming all women for this one, Amy. So just take it for what it's worth, right? Women are like, right? Like you get on a camera. Like I used to be, and not as much anymore, but I'd get on video calls when people wouldn't get on video calls. And like they spend the first, especially in the hair world, right? People would spend the first 5 minutes of a conference call pretending like they're getting ready for like going outside in the mirror in the morning. And I'm always like, we're like, would you do that if we were in a meeting? They were like, and I think, but as much as I'm joking, and that's not really all women, trust me, I've seen plenty of men do that too. So I'm completely kidding. But I think it's that idea of like, that is a clear sign who you're focused on.
Yeah. Totally.
I think that's it. So look, this has been some great tips on confidence, James. I absolutely love this. Dude, I want to make sure more people can get to know you, they can find you, they can track down information about you, because you have some courses and you do some really cool classes, and you have a bunch of live shows that you do all about telling your story and being more confident. Where can people go track down some more Coop?
You can always follow me on Insta at James Cooper Films. Awesome. And you can always message me there. We do have an agency where we help people unpack their story. And for those of people who are looking to get lots of social media content out there, we do a 2-hour session, and we give you a whole month's worth of social media content for all the platforms. It's something new, but so that's what I'm doing right now.
That's good. So they can check you out at James Cooper Films on Instagram. Any other places, any other Facebook groups, any other things they should know about to try and track you down anywhere?
I do have a group called 6 Figure Storytelling on Facebook. Nice. It's my private Facebook group, and it's a great community where you can actually post videos into the group for feedback from me and other people in the group. So for those of you who want to just get more experience of making videos and get some storytelling feedback and things like that, come join our community.
Dude, invaluable. James, we've hung out a lot. We're going to hang out this next weekend and go film and do some other cool stuff together. So I'm just pumped. I just want you guys to get more access. Amy's going to be there too, by the way. I want you guys to get more access to James and what he does, because he's just as you can tell, you hang out with him for 5 minutes, you're like, I love this guy. So dude, just thank you so much for taking your time, for being here. Amy, thanks for being here as well and being a part of the show. And everybody, do me a favor, comment what was your biggest takeaway from today in the comments below, and we will rock and roll with another Beautiful Mind show coming up again next Friday. Enjoy. You guys have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on today's show. If you want to get access to our 7-day Beautiful Minds Challenge, you can either comment below and just say 7-day, and I'll shoot you the information so you can get immediate access to that, or find me on any social media and just send me the message 7-day, and I'll make sure I get that out to you right away. And if you really enjoyed today's show, it would do me a huge favor if you went online, whether it was Spotify, Pandora, or iTunes, or any sort of podcast platform that you can find us on, and search for The Beautiful Mind Show, subscribe to our channel, and then make sure you give us a rating. Every time you give us a rating, it helps us get more eyeballs on our show and help more people have a more beautiful mind. Thanks again for joining us.